Hey everybody. So I've been meaning to do this for a while. I get a lot of questions about how I do my fingernails for playing classical guitar. And it's a system that I've developed over years of trial and error and trying out different things and different products and whatnot. And so I think I've come upon something that's working pretty well for me these days and wanted to share it with you. Um, so the problem of the fingernails is an issue for the classical guitarist. I've unfortunately never been blessed with either strong or thick or durable nails. And I tend to do a lot of other things besides playing guitar. So I tend to break nails a lot, and it's rare these days that I have a full set of my own that I can use. I often practice with them in whatever condition they're in, just because I'm lazy. And but what I find is that, you know, if I can use them and I work it out to get good sound and to be able to play in practice, I get really in touch with that process, and it helps. And then when I do have a good set of nails, playing feels easier. So it's kind of interesting that way. Anyway, back in the day, many moons ago, when I was a student, the MO for dealing with broken nails or nail repair, whatnot, was to use super glue. Very often with corn silk or tea bag or little slivers of ping pong ball is what I used to use, and it works. You can make things happen with that, and you can get a good sound and good touch and everything. But the super glue really does a number on your nail. Really weakens the nail quite a bit. So what I would find is I would get in this vicious cycle of I'd break a nail. I'd use the super glue fix with the ping pong ball. That would weaken the nail. Guess what? I would break it again. So I became very dependent on the ping pong ball trick, and my nails were just never very healthy. A few years back, Rico Stover came up with the Player's Nails kit, and I used that the first time, and it was all of this stuff that he had basically bought himself and put together as a kit, and then sold it as a significant upcharge. And I thought, well, heck, I can buy all that stuff myself. So let's talk about what we've got here. These are full coverage acrylic nail tips, and the way that I buy them is I go on Amazon and I just do a search. Usually it comes up with a little plastic bin of an assorted collection of acrylic nail tips. It's important to get the full coverage ones, the ones that go over the entire nail. I don't know what the other ones are for, honestly, but you find them in all sorts of different shapes as well. I've mistakenly ordered the pointed ones before, but it doesn't matter because you cut them anyway. But they come in 10 different sizes. I find for my hands, the size of my hands, the size 0 works really well for my thumb, and the size 4s work really well for my fingers. And honestly, I save the 5s, the 3s, they work for my fingers as well, and the 1s, and I just throw the rest of them out because they don't work for me. So those are the nails. As far as getting the nails to stick to your own nails, I used to use a pressure sensitive adhesive product called Glue Dots, which is what would come in the Player's Nails kits way back then, and what I found is actually these things. Again, I've only ordered them once, but there's a ton of them, and it says here 10-pack sticker for Manicure. They're the same thing. It's a pressure sensitive adhesive, but they're in kind of like these little naily shapes, and I've recently found that it works very well to cut them with the scissors. So I'll show you that in just a second here. So these are these little nail manicure stickers. They work really well. Alcohol prep pads. I just buy a big box of them at the drugstore. They're real cheap, and you know, there's like 200 of them in the box, so they last for a good long time. But it's really important that the surface of your nail is really free of any kind of oil or anything, or else the adhesives don't work so well at all. I've got a little pair of scissors here that I've been using for years. Works great for cutting the nails as well as for cutting the adhesives. Clippers. These are toenail clippers, or as my students like to say, man, those are the biggest nail or fingernail clippers I've ever seen in my life. So, yeah, they work really well. And then, of course, for buffing and polishing, I just have a standard, like a diamond dust type file, and the three-way buffer. If you don't know about the three-way buffer, that's a fantastic tool. So anyway, oh, and of course, I also use a little bit of medical tape along the back of the nail to help secure the nail. I'll show you that as well. That's probably not as critical for classical playing, but I use this especially when I play flamenco, because going along the back of the nail, you don't want the string to get caught underneath the nail there. So, all right, so let's get started. So step one is to select your nails. Like I said, I like the size 0 for my thumb. I sometimes use 1s for that. Just kind of in my touch of OCD, I tend to like to save the 0s and the 4s for performances. But I mean, this stuff's cheap. It doesn't matter. I really could use any of them at any time. And I like the 4s for my fingers. So I've got a 0 ready for my thumb, and 3 4s ready for my fingers. You know, and you might find that your fingers are different shapes and sizes, and you can get whatever size you need for whatever size finger you have. So, and to take a look at the shape of these things here, you'll notice that there's a square side, and then there's more of a rounded side. I don't know if you can really see here. So there's more rounded, more square. The rounded side is the side that's going to go against your cuticle, thusly. So the rounded side against the cuticle. And I've experimented with different things in terms of the depth of the nail, this way or that way. What I find is if there's a small gap in between your cuticle and the nail, it tends to work a little bit better. If you get it right up against the cuticle, the oils from your skin kind of can get underneath the nail and weaken the adhesive. And that's no good, because then they come out. So you notice there, I've got plenty of nail. If I were to use that entire nail, it would be way too long. So generally what I'll do is to find the length, I'll kind of mark it with my finger, about where, just a little north of where the flesh on my thumb is. So, and I've gotten pretty good at just kind of guesstimating. And honestly, with my thumb, I kind of shoot for like a 3/4 clip. So I take the scissors, clip it off. I just use this little plate here to collect my waste. It makes it easy to clean up afterwards. So that's what I end up with the cut nail. The other thing is, you want to be careful about touching the underside of the nail too much, getting too much oil on there from your fingers. I probably have just touched this one more than I usually do already. Alcohol on the acrylic will degrade it, so you don't want to get into that. So yeah, about 3/4 cut for the thumb, and then again with the fingers, you got the rounded side up against the cuticle. It's not a precision. There we go. It's not a precision science. Wow. There we go. Precision science. There we go. English is my native tongue. So again, just kind of looking at the length, and I usually don't. I just kind of eyeball it, and it for me it ends up being about halfway. So I cut these guys in half. You end up with something. It's gonna start like that, right? So, and I do them per finger and kind of keep them in order. Just look at it. So there's my I nail, my M nail here. And one of the things that actually I've come to appreciate about the fake nails is, man, I can get my nail exactly the length I want it to be. When I rely on my natural nails, I kind of have to deal with whatever they are at the moment. With using the fake nails, basically I can have the nail be whatever I want it to be. I've also gotten really good at just kind of doing a set and just knowing that they're going to sound good, because I know what shape, I know what length, that kind of thing, real consistent. So I don't even have to test them usually. I just put them on and go. All right, so we got the nails cut. The next step is I'm going to swab down my nails with the alcohol prep pad. Again, this is just to remove any dirt or grease or oils or anything. You know, if you just got finished eating breakfast, you know, you might have some stuff on your hands. So it gets the nail really dry, really clean. It makes for a better adhesion with the adhesive. So you do want to make sure that everything's evaporated before you start messing around with the adhesive, but it just takes a couple seconds for that to happen, so it's not a big deal. So again, these nail manicure stickers, let me show you. So like a full strip of them here, you notice that there's lots of different sizes. And I've done a couple different things with these. The only ones that actually fit my fingers and my hands in any real way are the large ones for my thumb. The rest of them are just kind of an odd fit. It doesn't work. I've used them sideways. I've done all sorts of things with them. But what I've found recently is that cutting them works really well. So that's what I've been doing now for the past few weeks, I guess. It's been a recent change, recent development. So it's a constantly evolving science, but not a precision science. All right, so you know, there's all sorts of different sizes. So I use the big large one for my thumb, and I've experimented with them going either way, flat side towards the nail, rounded side towards the outside of the nail. I don't think it matters. It's just a sticker. So so you peel that off, and I'm gonna go flat side towards the cuticle this time, just for the heck of it. So, all right, peel that off, press it on. Not rocket science. So I don't know if you guys can see this little nose here. There's Zuzu. She's staying with me for the next couple days. So she's a sweetie. And yeah, so get that on there. I like to press it down and just make sure it's making really super good contact before I peel off the thing. So I'm just peeling off the oversized thing there. All right, so then I'm gonna place the nail on the adhesive. Nothing, no real big deal here. I tend to, again, kind of want to have a little gap between the cuticle and the nail. And I try to, with the thumb, I try to match it up with the left side of the nail as much as I possibly can. Again, doesn't really matter. And the more you experiment with, you'll find out what works for you. And again, just a lot of pressure there. Try to get that adhesive, really just making good contact with as much of the nail surface as you can. So, and it's pretty stable. It's not going anywhere. It's right there. So, so there you go. There's my thumbnail. I tend to put them all on and then start doing some trimming. So that's what I'm gonna do. So for my my eye fingernail, again, these are too big, but I don't want to put them to waste, and I don't want to run through all of the smaller ones first on the fingers. So I cut them, and I'm just gonna eyeball it here about how big it should be. I'm gonna take about half one of those. What do you think, Zuzu? You want some fake dog nails? So I'm gonna cut this in half with the scissors still on the backing. I have tried both ways, and trust me, it works much better to cut them still on the backing. Much easier to deal with. So cut those out. There we go. So got about half one of those stickers there. And again, you peel it off. Put it on the nail. Zuzu really wants to play fetch. Oh. Didn't get a good. There we go. Zuzu, stop that. So there we go. So the adhesive's on. Take the wrapper off, and you notice it's moved a little bit, but you can kind of push it down, squish it down a little bit. So, and I always keep my nails in order on the table, so I know which one is which. This is the eye nail that I cut before. Again, just gonna kind of lay it on there. A little bit of gap between the nail and the cuticle there. So squeeze it on, give it a little testy poo. That one feels like it's moving a little bit. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. It's holding. Yeah, excellent. Not going anywhere. So there we got that one. And they look real pretty like this, don't they? So I'm going to take that other half from the one that I cut before. Efficiency at work. And I'm going to use that for my M nail. Just lay it on there. Press it down. Get good contact. Peel the sticker off. Get the nail. Drop it on there. Press it down. So 3 out of 4. Adhesion. And then again, I'm gonna cut a little bit off of this one here to use for my A nail. And again, you know, I'm just I go halvesies on these. Seems to work out pretty well. And like I said, it's fairly recent development, so I'll probably come up with some refinements on this process. So there we go. So there's half of that guy. Oops. And drop that on there. So, in terms of cost, you know, none of this stuff is very expensive. I'm trying to think. You know, I do this with a lot of things. I do this with my nail buffers. I do this with peg winders that I hand out to my students, encouraging them to change their strings. I do this with all the nail stuff. I'll just get on Amazon and do a general search, and whatever shows up as the cheapest option is usually how I go. So I think with the nail kits, I'd have to look it up. And if I were a really good YouTuber, I probably would put the link below. But I know myself, I'm not going to do that. So you can find this stuff. Just go to Amazon. Just go to Google. Find it. But I think with the acrylic nail kits, I think like $6.99, $7, something like that. These were just a couple dollars. Very cheap. The adhesive, or the adhesive tape, you know, $3 for a roll of that. That's like the 3M medical tape, and this stuff is it's actually really strong. I've had incidences where it's pulled, basically created hangnails on the skin underneath my nails. So it is strong stuff. It holds really well. So you know, you go to the drugstore, a couple bucks for that. So we're not looking at a lot of expense here, especially compared to the player's nails, which essentially is the same stuff, just put in a nice kit for you all, assembled and cut by yourself. So you know what, this eye nail is not. I don't like the way it's holding, so I'm gonna put another bit of adhesive on there. Sometimes that happens, or sometimes if they've been on for a while, something loosens up a little bit. And usually I don't worry about taking the old adhesive off there. I just put a new piece on and cram it all in, and it all kind of melds together and sticks together. But I think this might just feel a little bit more secure. What do you think, Zuzu? Is that gonna hold? Yeah, it's much better. So yeah, that doesn't feel like it's moving at all. So there we go. So there we go. We have the nails on. They're installed, so to speak. Of course, we can't play with these. That would sound terrible. And I'm gonna put the tape on now. So again, I just have my own way of doing this. You can work it out for yourself. So basically, I take a full strip, about that big, for my thumb, and lay it on over the gap there, and it's kind of like half on the nail. I don't know if you can see there, kind of half on the nail, half on the skin. It just provides a little extra reinforcement, keeps the nail from moving a little bit. So I actually haven't had any incidents playing wise where these have come loose in a gig or in a concert or something like that. I have had it happen, like if I've had them on for a while, or in practice, that kind of thing. But the tape really does a nice job to keep it in place. You can feel it kind of move a little bit, and the tape keeps it from flying off, which is nice, because then you just have to push it down, reactivate the adhesive, or get a little bit more adhesive underneath there, and that works out just fine. So same thing with the fingers, but I use smaller pieces. Just kind of lay them over the gap there, little halvesies, half on, half off the nail. I use 2 on my eye nail. Again, that's a habit that I've developed from playing flamenco, since you use the eye finger for so much of the rasgueado. So, and the other thing that does is if I use 2 for my eye nail, I can use 1 split in half for the M nail. There's a little tape on there, see, tape, and the other one for my A nail. And I don't have to worry about waste. Isn't that nice? I don't have to waste a piece of tape. Isn't that great? So there we go. So they're all taped up, they're on. Next step is to get the old toenail clippers. And as I mentioned before, you know, one of the things that I like about using these is that I can make the nail shape exactly what I want it to be. What should that be? Well, you know, you're gonna have to work that out for yourself. A lot of people have a lot of different ideas on how a nail should be shaped. I have my ideas that work very well for me, and I just know what that looks like. And for my thumb, it looks kind of like that. I like a little bit of a shorter nail on all my fingers. Actually, I've never been a big long nail person, so that's the general shape we're looking at. And looking at the playing side. Actually, let's go upside down here, so maybe you can see that. Yeah, so that's the playing side of the nail, and you can kind of see the shape there. So it's a nice kind of slope. There's no corners there. So, and I just try to get it as close as I can with the clippers. And again, I know what I like for my nail shape, and I know what that should look like. So just a couple snips with the clippers. There we go. Oh, it's a little bit of slope there that I don't like. Hi, Zuzu. And yeah, so there's that one. You can see kind of length of it, kind of shape on the playing side. So I generally think in terms of 3 snips. Got 1 on the off side of the nail, 1 on the playing side of the nail. I play on the left side of the nail, so, and then 1 in the center. Just a little cleanup. There we go. So the M nail's in good shape. There we are. And then the A nail, off side, playing side, middle, and some cleanup. That one's maybe a little longer than it needs to be for now, but I can always take care of that later. So there we go. I've got a full set. They're not pretty, you know. I'm not going for aesthetics here, but they're highly functional, and those are not going anywhere. They're stuck on my fingers pretty good. I don't think I need to bore you with filing and shaping. You know, again, largely a matter of personal preference, but I do want to tell you about the 3-way buffer. If you don't know about that, it's just basically varying grades of sandpaper. I think this is like 1200 grit, 4000 grit, 6000 grit. You know, which you can buy sheets of this stuff at the hardware store. It works really well. So, kind of gets a nice surface, smooths the surface, makes it super glossy smooth, just glides right off of the unwound strings. Sounds great, feels great. So there you go. One thing about taking these off is they are pretty easy to take off. They will eventually loosen themselves over time, especially if, again, you're doing other things besides playing guitar. I have had nails with these stay on for several days, but I generally use them and then take them off. I figure, you know, my nail's going to be healthier if it doesn't have stuff on it, and it's out in the open breathing and whatnot. So I kind of consider them single use. I know that I've talked to people who have reused them, and I find that the process of taking them off, playing with them, taking off, eventually weakens them, and they'll break and split. They are a little softer than my nails, and probably I would say most human nails. So the tone might be a little softer than what you're used to. I often find that if I've been playing with my own nails and then I have to use a fake, it takes some adjustment, but it's a good sound. It feels a little soft. The touch does. So, but I don't think it's really I don't think it affects the sound in a negative way. So, but there you go. If you have any questions, let me know. And thanks for watching. I didn't realize this was going to be a 25-minute long video. And if you made it all the way to the end, congratulations and thanks a lot.